I feel like our whole episode is just going to be a whole sweet and sour. Like the whole-
Yeah, mine's mostly sour, but all the events are mostly sour. I guess like the learning experience is kind of positive.
Let's just go into it. We have like no notes or anything, so like let's just go into it.
Okay. These reflect. That's annoying.
I know. I have blue light blockers too, and I always want to wear them, but then I have like these, like you can see the ring light inside them, and I feel like an alien.
Anyway, all right. Well, they're going off. So, you start. What's new with you?
Since we talked, I feel so good this morning. So I went to the salon yesterday because I have bad gray hairs. Like I'm wearing my bracelet. I got gray hairs when I was in my first year of college. So I was like 18 and I started getting them. So like now, yeah, I'm 36 and I'm like, holy shit, like they are bad. And I usually just like cover up the roots, but for some reason my hair extensions were fading and they were like this coppery color at the bottom.
Oh.
Yeah. So
because you didn't get virgin ones, did you? So they would have been colored.
I don't know. They're Mexican.
Yes, they might have never been colored, so they don't fade or anything.
I think mine were actually, I don't know if mine were virgin, but when we like matched the color, for some reason it didn't actually match when we got it. And my hair's not black, but it's like pretty fucking close to it. So anyway, my hair just like needed a fresh redo. So I went to the salon yesterday and I'm like, can you just color everything so it's like super nice and shiny and good things? Thank you. So do we need to introduce? Welcome back to Femme Radio.
I don't even have the notes. I don't remember how it goes.
That's okay. You're Dazz. I'm Courtney. We're redefining health, and we're doing a huge life update because we haven't talked in way too long, and I feel like we just need like a bestie chat. It's like an hour of things. Okay, so what's new with me? I think my biggest thing is the Fit Weekend expo that I did like a week and a half ago in Mexico City. Fucking best thing that like I've ever done. I honestly thought it was better than the Olympia Expo and the Arnold Expo. And I was talking to the owner about it. His name's Felix. I actually have a call with him this afternoon. We're going to talk about collaboration stuff. But I said, like, I feel like this is better than Arnold and Olympia. He's like, well, I don't think so. I'm like, well, yeah, of course. Like, it's not going to be like the same standards. But because it's a smaller event, like it was still a pretty big expo. There was a lot of Olympians. I got to interview Ryan Terry, and there's like a few other big people here. I can't even like think of the Olympian names. What's his name? Brandon Lunsberg? No, Lunsberg.
Something like that.
Okay, he was there. He was here, and Rami, was it Rami Hambod? I can like butcher all their names. The coach.
Yeah.
The guy that like invented FST7. That guy.
Yeah.
He was there, and yeah, tons of people here. But because it was like a smaller event, the athletes and the fans were like at the same level. You know, instead of like when you go to Olympia, you see like Laura Lee, but you see her from like 50 miles away and like you never actually like get close to them and whatever. And here it was just so personal. Like people were sitting down and like they were doing athletes meetings and conversations and stuff, and they were like 5 feet away. And we were talking, and I did an interview with Ryan Terry, and then we were talking for like half an hour afterwards, just like shooting the shit. I'm like, that is fucking cool, because like you don't get that at Olympia or Arnold or whatever, right? So it was really, really cool. And just to see athletes like come here and doing all of this in Mexico, like I wouldn't consider Mexico like a third world country, but it definitely is not, I'm going to say, at the standards of like Canada, USA, a lot of parts in Europe, things like that. So bringing that like a culture and community into Mexico, I don't know, it just felt like really fucking good for me to see. And then for me to be a part of it, I was, as soon as I got to the expo, I thought I was going to hang out for a few hours and then like walk around and then do like maybe an hour of interviewing. I did interviewing for like 7 hours. My voice was completely shot. I got to meet tons of people. My Spanish skills totally went up because I was being forced to like speak in Spanish. But it was like really fucking fun, like really, really fun. And I wish I was there for the second day. Usually I'm a huge introvert and I would want to be like totally done after the first one. But I'm like, I wish I stayed longer and met more people. So I'm really excited to do it again next year.
What was the second day?
The second day, okay, you know have you been to an expo before?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know how usually the second day it's kind of garbage? Or it's like lingering, like it's never as good. Like the first day, it's always the Saturday that's like the big one.
It's either like the first day, nobody knows what's going on, and then it's like,
Also.
yeah, and it's just shit and so disorganized. And then the second day, they're like, all right, we fucked up.
Let's make it better. But I feel
Yeah.
like everyone, like if you're gonna go to an expo, you're gonna go on a Saturday. That's usually like the common thing. So I thought Sunday was just gonna be like leftovers.
Okay.
It was so much better. It was like they did more events. So there was a NPC competition on the Saturday. So of course, like all of the athletes that competed on Saturday, they were there on Sunday. Now this is all just like regional stuff, right? But it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of other all the meet and greets were done on Saturday, but on Sunday they had posing seminars and some of the bikini pros like recognized me. Ellie Fernandez was there and she's like, "Hi, Courtney." I'm like, hi, I'm a celebrity. I felt like so special. And just like a lot more events, I would say. It was like really involved with the attendees. I think that's what, yeah, the attendees. So it was just like a lot of fun. And then I got to meet like, because I'm sponsored by some companies here, so I got to meet some of my sponsors and just like those athletes and stuff. And it's just fucking fun. It's really fucking fun. I was so drained by the end of the day and so like ready to go home, but I'm like, man, I want that to happen like once a month.
Yeah, yay for you.
That's fun.
What's a sour? Let's chat about sour.
Okay.
It's been 6
sour.
weeks, so you better have a fucking sour.
I have a sour. Okay, so my sour, do you remember, this was probably like 3 months ago, where I was like, oh, I have to rebuild my app because of like shenanigans that are, guess who's starting over on a brand new platform?
Courtney
Like
is.
that fucking sucks. I had about 3 weeks where all of my app users, now I have like 50 to 70, I think, people in my app. No one could use the programs for 3 weeks. Can you imagine following a training program for like 6 months and then all of a sudden you lose all of your information?
And two, like, because it's like a low cost value for them, if they could forget about it in 3 weeks.
And that just fucking sucks. Like that looks bad on me because I can't do anything about it. I was like I was the middleman and like nagging at the developers, but then like I couldn't get answers from them. And then it would be like 3 or 4 days where my message would be on red. I'm like, are you doing anything with this problem? So I just ended up getting to the point where I'm like, fuck it. And I actually had a conversation with a app developer, like building my app from scratch. I'm like, I'm not dishing out $1,000 or $10,000 to rebuild a whole app. Like those are so expensive. And I'm like, I will fucking figure it out. So I found a new platform and I'm rebuilding it and it's going even better than before. So that's kind of like the sweet amongst the sour, but the sour is I'm like, cool, I have to invest another like 50 hours to get all that done. So that's my poopy.
I have something like that coming up, but I'm putting it off because I just don't want to deal with the stress. But
Can we talk about it or is it secret?
No, you know that we can talk about. You know that platform that I set up to like that I showed you where it tracks, like it has all my lead gens and stuff, and then it tracks like, so it's quite expensive per month. And then I found out because I did some digging and I worked out what platform they use, and then like they just market it as their own. So like, you know, like they kind of buy into the business, and then like they it's like when you sign up, when you create an app, like, you know how with Kajabi, how you can like rebrand it to be yours and whatnot. It's sort of like that. So they've done a similar thing. And so I found out like the root developer, and the root developer is like less than a third of what they're charging me. So long term, it would save me a lot of money to redo everything that they've done.
But you have to redo everything.
Yeah. And then I don't know how to work it, and I don't want the stress of trying to work it. So then like I was looking on Fiverr to kind of get cost. And then I'm like, okay. So I've got like some quotes, and I know that long term it will save me, but I just finished paying off these guys, and now I'm like, and I don't even want to use it because like you're overcharging me each month. So yeah, that's something that I'm putting up, but I'm gonna do it. I don't know if I'm gonna do it.
Do they charge you a fixed rate like every month, or is it based
Yeah,
on how much you use?
it's a fixed rate.
Mm.
But like they do changes whenever I want changes and stuff like that. But I'm like, but at this point, like there's not many changes being made. So like it's not worth it to me. I would be better off if I needed changes to go through Fever. Um, but yeah, that's something that's not happening yet, and I don't want to think about yet.
It's one of those like frustrating things, and you're like, I know eventually it has to get done,
Yeah,
but boo.
yeah,
Tell me a sweet thing. Let's go to sweet. You have to have something sweet, please.
yeah. I got a rental.
Yay! I was waiting for that. I was hoping that. How
Mhm.
is it?
I love it. It's like it's very because this is the area I grew up in, and like when I tell people that I recently moved here, they're like, "Oh, and how are you finding it?" And I'm like, "I know
It's the
everything.
same. I
Like,
know.
yeah, nothing's really changed." Um, so I like it from that aspect. The neighborhood like that I'm in, it's very friendly. My neighbors are super nice and they're super helpful. And I've never really had really nice neighbors before, so that's nice. Except for like
That's
my
so
last
nice.
one, the neighbors behind me were really nice, but we didn't like really talk that much. And these people like the one next to me's got a dog, and like whenever she sees me at the front, like she comes out and she says hi and stuff, and it's just nice. And she like
That's
leaves.
nice.
Not that it's been Christmas or anything yet, but I know that she leaves Christmas cards, and I'm excited to get my Christmas card.
Do you like
Um,
Christmas?
yeah. I'm not like a huge like deck the halls, put up the Christmas tree, put up the Christmas lights and things like that. But I do like Christmas. Um and then and yeah, like the walking area, it's like I don't have to go onto like major roads or like through shops and stuff like that. It's very
Oh,
open
that's
and Stitch
nice.
loves it. Like whenever I let him out the front, he is like a dinosaur just like wrecking up all the just like grass and he's just
Oh
like
my gosh.
running. Yeah, so he's having a super good time. I got rid of my cat, which I know sounds sad, but I'm so grateful.
Oh,
Because she ruined the carpet at the other rental, and then I had to pay to get it fixed and to get my bond back and stuff. And this one has like the same amount of carpet, plus it's got carpet on the stairs, and you can just imagine her just.
mm.
So when I was moving, I asked Tim, my ex, to look after her for like a couple of days until I got settled in so that I didn't have to go back to like Laylaw, which is like an hour and a half away, and then leave her at home stressing because it's a new environment and ruining everything, scratching the walls and the carpet and stuff.
Right.
And then when I went to go pick Stitch up, he's like, I don't know why you don't like her. She's so cute and fluffy and she's so
Mhm.
adorable and she's so affectionate. And I was like, you want it? Like, you can have it.
You get over.
And I was like, think about it over the weekend. And I said, like, worst case scenario, I'm 10 minutes away now. I can take her back. Mom also said that she would love to have her. Um, and yeah, he wanted to keep her. And I knew he would because he's such a sucker for animals.
Did you have it's Nala? Was the
Nala,
cat's
yeah.
name? Did you have her when you were with Tim? I presume not.
No.
Okay, so new experience for Tim. That's nice. And then
Yeah.
like you know that she's taken care of. You didn't just like let her out on the street. I feel like that's such a Mexico thing where it's like because we don't
He doesn't let his
really
cats
have
out. He's afraid of them getting hit by cars because like that's a big thing here. But they because when I grew up, we were on like 2.5 acres, so our cats were allowed to do whatever they wanted. Like they could go away for
yeah.
days and come back.
You're
But
like whatever.
yeah, we didn't care. But he doesn't let them go out. But he's like, he messaged me today, and he's like, she's still a little bit of a psycho, and I'm like, that doesn't.
That'll still happen.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good though. It sounds like you're better, and then the cat's probably happier, so you don't have to be yelling at her,
Yeah, and he lets her
and
sleep with
that's a new
him and
pet.
stuff like that. So,
Win,
um,
win, win. Is
yeah,
is your rental like the same size ish as you had
it's a
before?
bit bigger. And my favorite room, underneath the staircase is a basement.
That sounds so magical.
So, like, you know those things that you just, like, end up, like, squashing away, and you just, like, because you don't use them much, and then you forget that you have them, or, like, they just take up space, and they're things that you don't really want people to, like, see kind of thing when they come in.
Yeah.
All
The
in it.
basement.
Yeah.
I
And,
love
like,
that.
yeah, like my vacuum cleaner and everything in there, and like, yeah, and I brought a cordless vacuum. Oh my god, am I like frothing over it? Because to do the floors
The things that we
downstairs,
get excited about as an adult.
to do the floors downstairs, and then to do the stairs, because the stairs are carpet, because like stitches, fur, and stuff gets everywhere. I'm like, oh my god, and it's got an LED light, so you can see like every hair.
Ooh,
Yeah, and I'm like,
that's
I never
nice.
knew
That's
this.
like OCD.
Yeah, and so but it's like because I've got the basement, I can like I hanged it up on the wall, and then it's like charging without it having to be out, and so I love my basement. I have an obsession with ninja bullets, so
Okay.
I'm always afraid that my ninja bullet's gonna break, and then I won't be
You
able
have
to
like 5 of them.
I always have a spare 2.
You have spare
And then
2?
and then I know because they have a 1-year warranty. So I set a reminder on my phone a month before the warranty ends to break it and then get another replacement. And then I pull out my new one, my one that's been sitting there. And then I replace the one that's been sitting there with the brand new one. And that was taking up a lot of kitchen space. But now it's in the basement.
That's actually like, it's so smart.
It is so smart. Yeah,
Like it's not like a bad thing. You're not like lying about it or whatever. And like the reason why brands and like products have like warranty after like 18 months is because they know at like 16 and 17 months, or sorry, at like 19 and 20 months, it's probably gonna break. So they set the warranty, like you're breaking their system. You're like, screw you, I'm smarter than you. So we're gonna play that game.
Because everyone's like, well, how do you break it? And I'm like, you put it in and you leave it running. So like you just keep going, run, and then it burns the rubber. So like then when they go to test it, like all of a sudden it just smokes. And I'm like,
I told you. Oh my gosh.
It's gonna blow up.
I have a Ninja Creamy and the lid is starting to break. So I'm trying to figure out how to, because it was through.
Go on the Ninja site and they have accessories, because that's like the main reason why some of them, it tends to be like the lids, and the lids tend to like start becoming loose where the blade is. So because the rubber comes off. So just go onto the Ninja site and order a new lid.
But I can't order it into Mexico. That's the shit. And then like when I bought it through Amazon Mexico, but the original provider was Ninja USA. So I'm playing like this back and forth game between like Amazon and Ninja, and they're like, oh, but you ordered it from Mexico. Oh, but you ordered it from USA. And I'm like, oh my God.
But you can still, because like you can even buy the parts on eBay.
I know. I gotta fucking figure this shit out. So it's on my to-do list right now, because now that I'm like 8 weeks out in my competition, I'm like, I can't have my Ninja Creamy anymore. So I'm like, I have 8 weeks and it's on my to-do list to like get it figured out, because I don't have to use it right now.
Because this is my post-show. This is my post-show meal.
Yes, I gotta save it for later.
Okay, but then before the move, when I got sick.
Yeah, let's get into that.
So
lightly.
I thought I had the flu, because I had fever, chills, my body was aching, and I told you, like I said, I've got the flu, like I'm dead. And I thought it would be like a week or something, because I usually recover quite fast. And then it had been 2 weeks, and I had to go back to the doctor to get a new mental health care plan to see my psychologist. And then I said, oh, well, I'm here. I've had this flu and it's really lingering and it doesn't seem to be improving. If anything, like I think I'm getting worse each day. And I'm not sure whether that's just fatigue or I'm actually getting worse. And I said in the past, like 5 days, my stomach's been really sore. Taking a
And
step hurt.
you had a lot of inflammation too. Like I remember you like sent me.
Yeah, I'll get in.
Like,
So
okay.
I'll get into that. So I took it. I said, like, when I take a step, it hurts. When I try to breathe, it hurts. When I try to sit up, I said I'm up all night. My stomach just feels like it's in a knot. And so she thought it was like reflux, but she sent me off to get bloods. And then she called me the next morning. She said, I need you to go to the emergency department. And I was like, fat chance of that. I was like, no, I'll be fine. She's like, I'm going to send you the blood work and you'll see that you need to go to the emergency, because she knows that like I know how to read blood work. And she said there was no sign of a bacterial or viral infection from your swabs. And your liver enzymes, so usually, because like we train, my liver enzymes are a little bit elevated. So they usually run about 40. They were 400. And my C-reactive protein was 250. My ferritin was really, really, really high. And I went into hospital and I ended up getting admitted, and then I had to like fast just like the whole time I was there. And that meant like no water either. And I still had a fever at this time. So can you imagine like not being able to drink water when you're like just fucking hot all night? Anyway, they had me on a drip, and then I ended up getting ultrasounds done of my liver and my gallbladder. And they said that it was inflamed, but they couldn't find any like stones or anything like that. And then my white platelet count started to drop, which is weird if you're sick, because like it should increase. And then I ended up getting sick of just like fasting and not being able to drink and not being able to sleep. And it's not that it's their fault, but it's a public hospital. People were like talking throughout the night and that. And I'm a sensitive sleeper. So I was like, I can't sleep. And then I'm stressed about Stitch because like he's got no one with him. He's in a new environment. Said I'm better off being at home where I can just sleep, lay on the couch, eat when I need to eat, drink when I need to eat. And then if you want me to do any more tests, I'll fast after the test and come in. They weren't really up for letting me go, but just
of course.
But then they said it's so that they could monitor my vitals. And I said, okay, well, what's changed with my blood pressure or my heart rate since I moved in? And like nothing. I said, you're testing it 3 times a day and there's nothing that's changed. I said, if I notice anything, like I know where the warning signs
You're
kind
aware.
I'll come in. And then the next morning I woke up and my face was like twice the size. Like it was so swollen. And that was the first time, and I was like, oh, okay, let's just give it a while before I go back. Then after a few days, the flu symptoms started to go away, but I lost a lot of weight because I could barely eat, and I spent most of my day sleeping. And then I was very fatigued, very weak, and they still don't know what's happened. So I've been getting blood tests done like every 2 weeks to see if things are improving, and they are, and slowly. And then just slowly adding in more tests. And I'm like, can we just like get all the tests done? Like everything that you can think of. Can you just do it now so that I don't have to keep going back and forth? But I recently had an ultrasound done of my intestines and my kidneys. I was meant to get the results back last week. The morning of that, they called me and said that my doctor's sick and she won't be working. So I booked in for yesterday. They called me before that and said that the doctor's gone home early because she's sick. And I'm like, okay, can you just send me the results? I said, I'll book in again for next week, but can you just send me the results? Because then at least I can send them to Jake Dolishell, who's like kind of been helping me throughout this, and be like, hey, like this is the most recent results. Like, what do you think, kind of thing? But yeah, so far no answers. Medical mystery. But everyone's putting it down to anorexia online because of Greg.
Of course. Which I don't even know. I don't even know like what to say or comment on. And
no, so I put out this post about hack squats. Nothing to do with body shape or size, nothing to do with anorexia or eating disorders. People wrote their own narrative about that and decided
it
to
fucking blew up.
nasty comments, and for some reason it went viral. People were telling me that if I can't handle the comments, like to turn them off and delete the post and whatnot. And I was like, I've got no reason to delete the post. It's got nothing to do with it. The fact that they're like so ignorant and want to make up their own narrative is on them. It's not on me. And those comments didn't really bother me because like I've dealt with them my whole life, and I'm totally aware that people can't influence the way that I feel. Me letting go and letting them control how I perceive what they put out there is me giving them the power. Like that's me kind of like projecting it onto someone else. So I was like, I'm fine with it. And then Greg decided to jump on the viral bandwagon and use me as a demonstration to promote, well, not to promote, to discuss body dysmorphia. He wasn't even following me. I wasn't following him. I asked him to take down the post. He said no. And then he said, he said, if it's on your page, then why is it an issue? And I said, because you've got 900,000 followers and it's just directing more people towards me. And it's the narrative that you've put out there with my post.
Yes.
And then he said, I'm considering doing a whole story about you. And I said, I'm not giving you permission to do a story about me. I said, if you want to do a story about body dysmorphia, we can collaborate and I can share my experience.
Yeah.
But you have no right to tell my story for me. The next morning I woke up and I had probably about 12, maybe more messages from him asking me about my recent health issue, asking me about what drugs I've used, like really, I would say harassing. And then I just messaged back and I said the same thing. He didn't reply. Next day, there's that evening, there's a video on his story about me. And then I think 2 days ago, he put out a YouTube and called me the bully. And so I said, I don't, you probably haven't seen it yet. I put out a reply. So there's a YouTube video of me replying to it. You can watch that today. But I said like, I never said that Greg was bullying me. I would say that he harassed me, but I never said that he was bullying me. And for him to try and twist that narrative, I've never bullied Greg. I've never said a bad comment about him. I watched everyone else make comments about his voice, his height, his demeanor. I didn't say anything. I may have liked a few of the comments, but I didn't say it. And then him trying to flip that switch so that I'm pictured as an online bully and that I'm pictured as someone that lies, because he took one of my posts where I said that I had to, my calories got up to like 3,500 in my off season. And then in my prep, they didn't get below 2,000. And he was like, I'll let you guys decide whether or not you believe that for someone this shredded. So then like in my video, I'm like, okay, well, people with who have gone through eating disorder recovery, a lot of them experience hypermetabolism. And then I put up like the screenshots of like what it means, stuff like that. And I was like, a lot of them end up having to eat 500 to 1,000 calories more each day on top of the standard amount that's, suggested for eating disorder recovery. Because like they kind of do it off like a gram per kilogram basis of like how much someone could be eating so that they don't experience overfeeding syndrome, which is where like, because your heart rate slowed down so much, if you eat too much too soon, the amount of blood that your heart has to try and pump through then can be disastrous.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why they kind of have like guidelines of where to start and like how high to go up to and whatnot. But yeah, they found that people with hypermetabolism have to go much higher than that. And that's what I've got. So I did a video. There was some things like when he mentioned how, when I put out that post about like what drugs I had used. Mm-hmm. And so he used that and he's like, she uses and abuses drugs. Like, would you trust her to kind of like coach you and whatnot? And then I was like, Greg, in the video, I said that I regretted it. And then like I played that bit where I said I regretted it. And then put out all the other content of me promoting like safer use and whatnot.
Yeah, you know when people just, like, take little clips and then, like, make their own almost like meme? You know what
Yeah,
I'm talking about? It's like he's doing that. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna," or it's like when someone takes, like, Donald Trump's, like, phrase and then he, like, totally twists it into, like, all these little and puts all these words together. It's like he was doing that, and one thing is I said this to you, it's just, like, I find all of it disgusting and, like, really insulting, and, like, he's supposed to be a professional, and I understand, like, and I know that you do these all the time on your Instagram, and I fucking love them, like, when you do the incoming stitch,
yeah.
and you do it from a very objective point of view. You don't call out the person individually and you're like, "This coach is a fucking dumbass." Like, you don't do that. You do it from, like, a general perspective, and,
Yeah,
like,
and I would
he's
never comment on someone's shape and size.
yeah, that's just, like, and I don't know if just, like, guys don't understand that or whatever. It's like, where's the sensitivity? Where's the understanding that, like, we are fucking humans as
Mm,
well? And for him to just, like, point every fucking finger possible and then, like, get new fingers and point new fingers, like, he's just, like, blaming you, and you're like, "I'm fucking talking about hack squats." Like, you were
yeah,
talking about that you got sick, you've been very open and honest, and you're like, "I'm not struggling right now with an eating disorder." Like, that is not it. Like, that is part of who you've been, but that is not who you are, and that has
that's
nothing to do
the
with
thing.
this video.
I'm so glad you said that because that's the thing that's been, like, bothering me the most is now I've been put back in the eating disorder bracket, and I'm like, "I don't wanna be identified as that." Like, I really just wanna step away from it, and then I've got all the people that follow Greg and, follow Greg's YouTube, commenting on my post, and they're like, "You put it out there, like, you wanted it, you're thriving off the attention." And I'm like, I never asked Greg to share my post. I asked Greg to take it down. I asked Greg not to do a video about me. I never asked anyone to go in and send hate and comment on my shape and say that I'm a meth and crackhead and whatnot on my post. I never asked for people to follow me. I said the people that are following me aren't the ones leaving these comments. The people following me are the ones who connect to my story or, like, support what I put out, or they like the value that I provide. That's it.
Right.
The fact
And, like,
that
I
yeah,
I understand that, like, from your point of view, where there like, you have 2 options. You can block everything, delete it all, ban it, report it, whatever, ignore it, which doesn't give energy into the situation.
mm,
But then there's also, and this is, like, how I see it, is, like, you have a not really a responsibility, but for lack of a better term, you have a responsibility, like, you are a leader in this industry, and you put out good information, and you inform, and you educate. And your whole social media platform and your whole thing is, like, educating and giving people information and stuff. So you're not going to take it down because you're like, this isn't right. And I'm not going to sit back and let it just be okay. So I can only imagine the amount of, like, energy and sheer exhaustion it is to constantly, like, see those messages and reply to them and have to create videos just, like, defending yourself, which you shouldn't have to be doing, but you're doing it in a way because that's probably helping others as well. And it's also hopefully trying to put Greg in his fucking place, and, like, whether it's Greg or whoever it is, like, put them in their place and being, listen, don't label someone as something when you don't even know, like, what's going on. Like, you're trying to be a leader and to make things proper, but I can only imagine the amount of, like, energy and exhaustion, and, like, I wake up in the mornings and I see all this stuff on my Instagram, and I just, like, I just feel, and I'm like, fuck, like, still fucking happening, like, it's
yeah.
tiring. I
And
feel
that's
for
what
you.
that's exactly what, like, I kind of thought about. I was like, okay, I can either retract and be a hermit and just let these people kind of, like, win, but why do I have to? And, like, at what point am I allowed to stick up for myself? Um, but yeah, have a look at the YouTube video today if you have time.
I'm going to.
And reshare it if you can, please.
Okay.
Because
I
I
will,
don't want
yeah.
people to, because the way just Greg's got a massive following. And I don't want people to think that I'm Daz and I'm an online bully, because that's the way he's kind of set up the narrative for his video. But yeah, and then like even people in the comments that I don't know and I've never spoken to, and they're like, if she has an eating disorder, and I'm like, okay, he put a comment saying that I was a crackhead. He doesn't deserve to know my story.
Disconnect.
He doesn't deserve to know my story or my experience. Don't tell it for me. I appreciate you trying to stick up for me, but it's not your story to tell. And that was the exact same thing with Greg. I said, like, this is something that I hold near and dear to my heart, and I've spent a lot of time identifying, showing people how to respect me and how to see me as Darian and not my eating disorder. Don't tell my story for me. I'll tell who I want, when I want, how I want.
Okay, let's clear the air. You have lost, what did you tell me, 9 kilos?
I think it was 8 kilos.
Okay, have you gained some of it back?
Yeah, 3 kilos up today.
Congratulations. And this has nothing to do with you choosing not to eat. This is because you have gotten sick. Your liver levels were ridiculously elevated. And after 2 months, the doctors still can't figure out why that's happening. You've wanted to eat. You've wanted to train. You've wanted to not lose all of this weight, because like for us, the first thing is like, oh my God, I'm losing fucking muscle. Like, it's not that you have 9 kilos of fat just like hanging out on your body that just like needs to go away, you know?
It was
Like, where's that weight coming from? And you have even told me, like, and this is part of the reason why we haven't done podcasting lately, is you had said, and I'm hoping that you're going to be okay with me saying this, is you're like, I don't want to show my face because I don't feel comfortable. And yeah, like that could trigger people saying like, oh, she has an eating disorder and whatever it is. But like, you're not choosing this. This is completely a different thing than what's happened in the past. And
no, I appreciate you saying that. And I think that was something that I wanted to put in the YouTube video too, because I showed the doctor's notes where she said had been gaining weight, and it says like the weight because she was weighing me every time I went in. And it's like just to show that, you know, I was making progress and I was getting close towards my goal for this year. And for this to happen is very disheartening. But I'm trying to just ride the wave and take control of what I can control. But yeah, it's exhausting.
Can't imagine. I just have a big fucking hug for you.
Thank you. Everything still just feels very
good job, Google. Okay. Not that I want to like change topics, but I guess like if we can like segue. So needless to say, presuming you're not competing this year.
No.
Okay. We know that. What are you focusing on right now? Like, what are your, I don't even say competition related things because you're not competing, but like nutrition and training, and like, what are you working on right now?
At the moment, like I'm trying to get as much food in as I can. My appetite's still very, very low. Even like yesterday when I was eating my lunch, I couldn't finish it. I did finish it, but like I had to put it in the fridge and come back to it. I've never been someone like that. Like I've always been able to kind of like finish the food in front of me. But it just gets to a point where I'm like, if I put another spoon in my mouth, like I'm going to throw up because my body doesn't want it.
Just put everything in a ninja and just like blend it up. And
you know, when you eat something off and you start gagging, that's like, it kind of gets to that point. So I'm like, I'll put it in the fridge and I'll come back to it later and like nibble at it throughout the day. But it is like, so far I'm just trying to get as much food in as I can. I'm not training much because I can't. It takes me a long time to recover in between training sessions. So at the moment I'm kind of managing like 3 full body days a week, which is good. Like, because like when I came out of hospital, it was probably like 1 full body day a week. So it's 3 now. So outside of that, there's been a lot that I've kind of had to just, because like mentally I was spending a lot of time just like not feeling sorry for myself, but being upset about it. So I've been doing like a lot more creative things, which I'm enjoying. But
I've seen
it's
you
all
like
this,
making tons of bracelets lately and stuff,
yeah,
and I love that.
yeah. And then like it was probably a good thing, although the move was exhausting because it was right over me getting out of hospital and I just had no energy and
Mhm.
pretty much had to do most of it myself. But part of that was me as well. Like mom was like, I can help. But then when she wanted to help, I'm like, Mom, like it's not a good time for me kind of thing. And it got to the point where I had removalists booked, but I wanted that to just be furniture and I wanted everything else to be done so that they put the furniture in and I'm done. Um, but because I moved into a new place, like there's stuff that I want to set up. So that's like, put little art pieces up and reorganize things. And I'm into like, this is hot, candles at the moment.
Oh my God, I have a candle on the other side of my little podcast tent right now, and I fucking
Yeah.
love.
So
Oh,
I'm spending a lot of money on candles, but now I'm like, well,
they're expensive.
I've got time. I might just try making candles. Um, yeah.
Have you done it yet?
No, I'm gonna look at buying the stuff, but and then I put I'm really attracted to like Aboriginal art. I don't know if you've seen Aboriginal art. It's like a lot of like dot paintings and stuff. And every kind of, I don't know if you know, you might, but every kind of like piece of Aboriginal art tells a story. And
Yes.
usually it's like a theme within like their culture. So like some of them are new beginnings and you'll see like a lot of circles, or like some of them are about like recastination and that there is an afterlife and everything kind of like works in this cycle. There's other ones that are like Mother's Earth, and it kind of like tells a story about like the role that the mothers play in keeping the earth around. And there's ones about gathering, and they're all kind of like pictured in the same way. Um, but like people will take their own spin on it and use different colors and stuff. And I was looking at buying one, and then I was like, "Oh, this is like art's expensive." And I'm like, I get that it takes some hours, but it's going to take me 5 minutes to hang it up. So I was like, well, why don't I just buy a canvas and learn, like pick a story that I like and learn about it and then try painting it myself.
I fucking love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Because
There is,
even if
I
I
need
hate
to like,
it, like I don't have to hang it up.
yeah, I think something like that, it's like creativity. And I think it's like really important for us to do because it expresses emotion without like words,
Mm,
And one of the great things I love about art is hopefully we don't have like judgment, and it's just like, yeah, it's an expression,
mm.
and I think that's awesome. So there's this thing, I cannot pronounce it. Albrijes. I don't know. It's like a Mexican. So when you would post it on your Instagram stories about the traditional, like the stipple art almost, or like the dots, there's like a Mexican version of it. And I need to send it to you because they usually have like they almost look like these like magical creatures, and they have all these little dots, but they all have
I know what
meanings.
you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, it's so fucking like beautiful and cool, and I'll post about it and I'll send them to you. But like when I saw, or yeah, when I saw you talking about it, I'm like, oh my God, it reminds me of that. And all I can think is like, if you have this sculpture of like Stitch or like this dog, and then you put all these little dots on it, and I'm like, it's just so fucking fun. So I love
What
that. So like,
What are
go ahead.
those Mexican things? It's
Tacos.
like a doll. Um,
Oh, the Dia de los Muertos, like the little the sugar skulls.
yes, my mom loves them.
They're so fucking cool. I am obsessed with the culture here. It's
Mm,
like every state has this like different unique kind of like culture. It's like these little mini countries inside here. And I have not been to like nearly as many states here as I want to, but it seems like every different area, like when I meet friends here, they're from like a different area, and they're like, oh, this is popular, this is tradition, or this is tradition, where it's like in Canada, we never have that. It's just like
Mm.
Canada's like this mismatch of like poutine and like maple syrup, and like there's nothing else. Like it's very diverse, but it's just something different about here, and I fucking love it. And it's just so like unique. Um,
You know, so another thing about being creative, I've never liked gardening. And then when I got here, I was
but
like
now,
a little bit overgrown. I'll just start and then I'll just see how I go. And then even if I do a bad job, like mum will come and fix it up because she always like comes and then I just find her in the garden like picking out weeds. And I'm like, I don't even
that's
know
so
those.
my mom too.
But yeah, I was like, this feels nice. Like just to kind of like chuck out dead plants. So there was like
It's
one plant
liberating.
yeah, there was one plant outside that Stitch kept like laying on, so he squished it. And I was like, now it looks ugly. So I'm like, I'll just pull it out. And then when I put it out, I'm like, whoosh, that feels good.
That feels so nice, like purging.
Yeah.
As much as like this whole situation has been like really shitty that like you've gotten sick and had to like deal with like this extensive recovery, I feel like the silver lining is like you're able to like move into this new place and rebuild or like build this new environment that you're in, and you're able to have time to slow down and be a little bit more creative. Because how long have you been like pushing and training and working on all these other things, and now you have an opportunity, for being forced to like slow down, you know,
Mm,
and
yeah.
to literally
Yeah.
smell the roses or whatever plants that you have in the garden. And I think that's like, if you can see like the good thing in a shitty situation, it just kind of makes it a little bit nicer.
And to be back into like that parasympathetic mode. Because like you
Yes.
find like when you train, even if you're like, you don't necessarily have so much to do that day, but then the training takes up like getting to the gym, training, and then coming home. It takes up more time than what we would like sometimes. And then you end up just rushing through everything else in the day. And it's like I haven't sat down. Like I
Yeah.
haven't had time to kind of just like even think
Breathe.
about what I'm thinking about. It's like I've got to do that,
Yeah.
that. And yeah.
That is like such a life of an entrepreneur.
Mm,
You know, like we are constantly go, 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 and we're able to turn off our critical, not our critical thinking brain, but like our awareness, and we're like turn off the intuition and just like
mhm.
fucking execute, you know?
Yeah, I
And
think
too often we're forced to do that.
the other day I didn't open up my laptop and I was like, oh, I feel like
Like,
I've
wait a minute.
haven't had a day in so long where there's nothing that I had to do on my laptop. Um, and it was just like I kind of felt lost at first. I was like, what do
What
I
else
do?
do I do?
So then I was like, clean the house. Um, but
I love
even that,
that.
like that's something that I wouldn't normally have time to do. Like I might have time to do the floors, but it's been a long time since I've done like a deep clean and like, change the bed sheets, Mr. Sheen, everything, do the windows, the mirrors, the walls and whatnot. And then I had more time. So I was like, oh, I haven't bathed Stitch in a while. I'll go take Stitch for a bath. And then where Stitch's bath is, because it's like one of those DIY ones,
Okay.
there's a car wash. And then I was like, oh, well, I haven't vacuumed my car in a long time. So I'll vacuum my car. And then I'm not washing my car, to be honest. Like I'm not doing the brush thing because it's black and the brushes like scratch it. So there's like a laser drive-through car wash. And I was like, but by the time I got through the laser car wash, I was like, because I'm still like very weak. I had done the gardening, I had to clean the house, I had cleaned Stitch, and then I was like, okay, I can just drive through because I'm
Now
done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I love that though. I feel like those are like little things that we often neglect or we will like rush through, but you're able to like appreciate the art of slowing down.
Yeah.
And I think that is like so fucking powerful. I fucking love
Yeah.
that. I think
And
that's
it's a thing that runs in like my family and the females. Like we love cleaning.
my mom
Yeah.
loves cleaning, and I'm always like, you can come over and clean. And
Yeah. My
tell
grandma
Dad, or
used
I
to
will
come
hire
over and she
someone.
would be like, even if I had cleaned, she would be like, okay, that's fine. I'll iron the tea towels. Okay.
My mom used to like iron and like fold my underwear. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's a cube. Like, it's this big. What are you doing?
That's what my grandma would do. But yeah, or even like like you can spot a cleaner, like what they will go to make themselves a cup of coffee, and then afterwards like they're wiping the bench down and stuff, whereas like most people would just make a coffee and chuck the spoon in the sink kind of thing. And the ones that like, and I'm like, you're a keeper.
We're keeping you. I fucking love that. Oh, I love that. So even though it's been like really shitty that you've been forced to slow down, you're really making the most of it and focusing on other elements in your life
Yeah.
that you can do, so that when that stuff's done and you are feeling better and you want to increase your training and get back into like other things, like you can do that.
And I think I also know now that like I want to keep some of this stuff in too. Speaking of cleaning, so when I go to the Tim's now, because Tim's like an outdoor mechanic kind of like guy, like he's always fixing stuff and building stuff and whatnot. So the state of the house doesn't really matter. Like you'll find when you go there that in the pantry cupboard is like car oils and car parts and stuff like that because you run out of space in the garage. Like I'll sacrifice space for my food and I'll just use the fridge for like my bread and everything so that I can have the cupboard for my car parts. And like I'll go over to his house and I'd be, wait, there would be a bin there, and I'm like, there's no bag in the bin. And he's like, yeah, I just put it in the tent. And I'm like, no, you need a bag.
You're crazy. How do you survive?
Let me teach you how to live again.
Let me show you the basics. Can I share prep things?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't really talk about them. I'm like 8 weeks out, 8.5 weeks out. And it's coming up so fast. And I feel really good. And I just got my new suit last night. I got it in the mail. And I'm so happy. And I don't know if I want to like say
what color after the podcast.
Yeah. So okay, I'll tell you one of my sour things that I have learned, which is fucking horseshit. So these suits are fucking expensive. We know that. Like the ones that I get are like $700 each. And you wear them for like
I don't want to say that really fast.
So I have now 3 suits. 3, not 3. And I got my purple one like 2 years ago. And as I'm like wearing it throughout the year, I'm noticing stones are falling off. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then last year I got a green suit and stones were like a lot of stones were falling off. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like I take immense care of these things. So I have eventually found out, and my girlfriend here confirmed, that it's the humidity here. But when I lived in Playa, so another city like an hour away from here, like I have my blue suit that I wore from my first competition in the other federation from 2019. I still have that. Not a single stone has come off of that. So I'm like, well, why is it coming off of these ones and not the other ones? It could be the glue. It could be the fabric. I know that my suit designer is like, she's phenomenal. It's like, it's a very weird thing. So we keep having like these stone issues. So she remade my purple one last year. She just remade my green one. So yesterday she sent me my new one for this year and a remake of my green one. And I'm so happy, but I have now discovered that the humidity here ruins them. And so I had to buy a vacuum, like a vacuum seal, but I can't vacuum the whole thing because it can't have pressure, right? But it has to be enough. So I have to vacuum seal. Then I put those kind of like the humidity balls or bags that like soak up the humidity, but it's not gross humidity here. Like my closet doesn't smell or anything. So I have that in a bag, and then I put everything in like a bigger bag that's like super sealed and protected. I'm like, I am praying that all of this like works out because I cannot afford to buy a new suit every time I compete. So hopefully it works.
Yeah. I have a client competing end of the year, and she was like kind of messaging me today because like it's her first comp, just kind of like freaking out and wanting to get everything prepped. And I was like, I said, with the suit, you're best to like find a local supplier and go in and get measured because like sending your measurements never works out great. Yeah. But I said, don't worry about buying the expensive overdone crystals because they don't see it on stage. Just go with the standard. It's going to have the exact same effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get like a discount because I'm like a athlete for them. So I do get like some support on that, which is nice. And I like them and they're fucking beautiful. And this is the only thing I spend my money on, right? It's like food
Yeah.
and competing things. So I'm like, I will spend the money on it. And especially I'm like in a different league now, right? So it needs to be really nice. So with that stuff, I'm getting a new pair of heels soon. I'm getting my extra extensions put in a few weeks so that my hair is going to be nice and big. And I might do like a wave this year.
I like
I'm
the way.
excited. So I'm gonna play around with it. But yeah, I feel like really good. And I'm like trying not to jinx anything, but I'm like, this is the best I've ever felt. This is the first year where I'm not experiencing like hormone issues or like any side effects from like my HRT. And I am like thriving being in a deficit. Like that
Yay.
feeling of hunger I've like leaned into, and like I woke up this morning, I'm like, fuck, I'm hungry. And I'm like, yes, it's working. And it just like pushes me even more. So I just really like
So
it.
Court's on this high and I'm just on this.
Yeah. And this morning I was like, oh my God, like I don't even want to talk about this stuff, but like I know that you support it and it's like a different context, but like you're struggling with eating food. And I'm like, fuck yes, I'm hungry. It's like
I wouldn't like it if you came on and you were like this depressed little like blob. And I'm just like,
No.
God, like, come on.
No. We gotta be.
Do we have anything else to talk about? You and I need to sort out for the next episode.
Yeah, we need to get a structure. But this was good. It was just like a girl chat, and I think that was important and for all of us, and hopefully our listeners love it as well.
Yeah.
We do need to take a selfie.
Yes. Are you happy
I
with this
cannot
time
forget.
too, moving forward?
Yeah, it's the same time for me
Oh,
because technically I don't get daylight savings time change. You do.
okay.
So are you okay with this time? Is the
Mhm.
question. Okay. Let me take a selfie. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yay! And wrap up.
Yeah, I forgot in the end. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Femme Radio. Empowering you. No,
Dad.
we redefine. We redefine.
Have you done this before?
Not a long time. Please subscribe, share with your friends and family, and give us a 5-star rating.
Watch Daz on YouTube. Support her. Support us. Thanks for hanging out, strong friends, and we'll talk to you later.